Your super PAC, you have it's Priorities USA, of course.
Yep.
You're pouring your money towards Hillary, correct?
Yep. We want Hillary Clinton to be the next president of the United States. Thank you.
All right, some Hillary fans here.
That's right. It's her turn.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's her turn. You know, there was a poll of millennials that said they could, like 70% of them couldn't even name a senator in their own state, yet they believe that they're ready for Hillary. They're ready for Hillary. I guess because they know the name and she's a woman. Joining us now, Jay Cost, staff writer for the Weekly Standard and author of A Republic No More, Big Government and the Rise of American Political Corruption. Jay, I want to go first to the Democratic side and Hillary. And, you know, you wrote a great piece at the Weekly Standard that the Democratic bench is shockingly weak. You know, let's work from the supposition that something comes up and Hillary decides not to run. I mean, Elizabeth Warren is not going to beat one of the many possible Republican candidates, is she?
I think she would have enormous difficulty, and I also think she would have enormous difficulty even winning the Democratic Party's nomination. You cannot understate the importance of corporate America in Democratic Party politics now. This is not the Democratic Party of the 1890s when it was the farmer-labor coalition. It's not the 1960s where George Meany of the AFL-CIO ruled the roost. This is a party that is funded in large measure by big business interests, and they are terrified of Elizabeth Warren.
Yeah, and all right, so we're talking about a I don't know, Jerry Brown and O'Malley or somebody or Biden, but still I can't picture any of them really. I could be wrong beating. But let's talk about Hillary. I mean, the revelation that she's so confident now, and as you point out, this has never happened. It would be unprecedented, where she would basically, you know, she has the nomination. She'll have no challenges, and she might put off her announcement from April of this year to July of this year.
Yeah, it's really extraordinary. I mean, even Dwight Eisenhower in 1952, just 7 years off of winning World War II, still had a challenger for the Republican nomination in Robert Taft. In open seat races, there's always competition, and yet this time in the Democratic Party, it looks like there's going to be nothing substantial. I mean, Martin O'Malley of Maryland and Jim Webb of Virginia and Bernie Sanders, who isn't even a Democrat, for crying out loud. He calls himself
socialist,
really an exceptional situation. Yeah.
All right, let's move to the Republican side, and with Romney stepping out, you know, Drudge did an online poll, and Scott Walker zoomed to the top. I don't think that's scientific. That's not a knock at Drudge, but any online poll I don't believe is scientific. Anyway, so is Walker the front runner now? If we could even name a front runner of candidates, none of which who have announced.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't think there is a front runner. I know the Washington Post sort of declared Jeb was the front runner with an asterisk, but I think that Jeb has enormous weaknesses with the grassroots, and I think that he does not yet have a message for conservatives. I think that Scott Walker is a sort of candidate who probably will have that message, but then again, he's not going to be able to raise the kind of money that Jeb Bush is going to raise. And I think a front runner would be a candidate like George W. Bush in 2000, who was sort of a favorite among grassroots conservatives, or at least he was acceptable, but also was raising the big money figures, and it doesn't look like there's anybody like that on the Republican side.
Yeah. Now let's talk very briefly about the New York Times doing a hit piece today on I believe it was the Times on Chris Christie, his extravagant lifestyle, his taste for very expensive planes and food and this and that. And are you kidding me? I mean, they do it with a straight face, like they did questioning McCain's eligibility based on where he was born in 2008. When of course you got Hillary Clinton, who's charging $300,000 a speech and has a diva list that would put these superstar singers to shame.
Yeah, this honestly, Steve, this looked to me like it was a favor for Jeb Bush. I mean, Jeb Bush has just, pushed Mitt Romney out of the race. At least that was what the Washington Post was basically claiming. And now here we have the New York Times running a story going after Chris Christie. I think this is about Jeb Bush trying to consolidate the financier class in the northeast of the country, and having eliminated Mitt Romney, one main competition, he's now going after Chris Christie. That's how I read this piece anyway.
Well, I mean, I'm no fan of Christie at all, but I don't like it, and especially I don't like your analysis of it. I think it's right, but I don't like the fact that that's what's going on. But I guess that is politics.
And by the way, you gotta. I mean, so this is the front runner nominee of the Republican Party. He's, he's clearly Jeb. The Jeb world is clearly working its contacts with the Washington Post and the New York Times, as if it's like 1987 or something. And I just that. By the way,
we got 10 seconds. Go ahead.
That's why I'm suspicious of Jeb being the front runner. I don't think he's in touch with where the Republican Party is.
I'm with you. I thank you, sir. We'll be back with Dr. Herbert London. Don't go away.